Am I lazy or am I just burnt out? This is your dad. Let's talk about that. Pull up a chair, leave your phone face down on the table, and just sit here with me for a little while. I want you to take a deep, slow breath, the kind that finally reaches all the way down to your belly and makes your shoulders drop an inch or two. You have been carrying that question around like a heavy, jagged stone in your pocket for weeks, maybe even months. I can see the exhaustion written all over your face, and I can hear the quiet desperation in the way you ask it. You are wondering if there is a fundamental flaw in your character. You are looking at the mountain of things you need to do, feeling completely paralyzed and whispering to yourself in the dark, "Why can't I just get up and do it? What is wrong with me?" I want you to look at me, and I want you to hear this with absolute clarity. You are not lazy. You are running on empty, and you are carrying far too much weight. We need to clear up the great lie that the world tells us about laziness. Laziness is a choice. True laziness is a state of apathy. A truly lazy person doesn't care that the work isn't getting done. They don't lose sleep over the emails they haven't answered, the chapters they haven't studied, or the projects sitting untouched on their desk. A lazy person is perfectly comfortable in their avoidance, but that isn't you, is it? You care so much that it hurts. When you are sitting on the edge of your bed, unable to muster the energy to start your day, your mind is racing at 100 miles an hour. You are agonizing over the deadlines. You are consumed with guilt for every second you spend not being productive. You are begging your body to move, but your nervous system has simply pulled the emergency brake. That agonizing gap between desperately wanting to do the work and physically or mentally being unable to do it, that is not laziness. That is the absolute textbook definition of burnout. Think about your body and your mind like a battery. For a long time now, you have been plugging everyone and everything else into your battery, draining your power down to the very last drop, but you haven't been plugging yourself back into the wall to recharge. You cannot run a high-performance engine on fumes and then get angry at the car when it finally stalls on the highway. Your body is stalling because it is trying to save your life. It is forcing you to stop because you refuse to listen when it gently asks you to rest. Let's talk about the invisible weight you are carrying. When we measure how tired we should be, we usually only measure physical labor. If you spend 10 hours digging ditches, you would easily give yourself permission to be exhausted. But the heaviest weight we carry isn't physical. It is cognitive, and it is emotional. Maybe you are staring down the barrel of a massive, life-altering exam next month, trying to force a mountain of complex information into a brain that is already still. Staring at review materials until the words blur together takes a monumental toll on your neurological reserves. Maybe you are managing endless pipelines of work, trying to keep a dozen different professional plates spinning in the air so nothing crashes to the floor. Or maybe you are in the middle of a massive life transition, walking away from a career where you gave absolutely everything you had to your students and your research, and now you are trying to build an entirely new path from scratch. That kind of cognitive load is staggering. You are asking your brain to be a manager, a student, a visionary, and an architect, all at the same time. You are lifting psychological boulders every single day. And yet, because you can't see those boulders, you look in the mirror and call yourself lazy when your arms finally give out. I need you to show yourself some grace. You are exhausted because you have been doing exhausting things. We live in a culture that treats rest like it is a sin. We are told that we have to hustle every waking moment, that our value as human beings is directly tied to our productivity. We are taught that if we aren't moving forward, we are falling behind. But that is a deeply broken way to live. Trees do not bloom all year round. The soil requires a season of winter, a season of cold, dark, quiet rest, so it can gather the nutrients it needs to grow crops again in the spring. If you force the soil to produce without resting, it turns to dust. You are turning yourself to dust, my child. There is a specific kind of tragic cycle I feel you trapped in right now. Because you feel guilty about being burnt out, you try to rest, but you ruin your rest with guilt. You lay on the couch, but your mind is at the desk. You take a day off, but you spend the entire 24 hours mentally punishing yourself for the things you aren't doing. So you return to your work the next day, having not actually rested at all. You just spent a day performing a very stressful pantomime of relaxation. To heal from this, you have to learn how to rest radically and without apology. Rest is not a reward for finishing the work. It is the absolute biological requirement for doing the work. I want you to think about what happens when a hot air balloon starts losing altitude too quickly and is heading for the trees. The pilot doesn't try to add more fire. The pilot starts throwing sandbags over the side. They have to drop the weight to save the ship. You need to start throwing some sandbags over the side of your life. What can you drop today? I don't mean forever. I just mean for right now. What expectations can you lower? If the house is a little messy, let it be messy. If a friend takes 3 days to get a text back, they will survive. If you need to do the absolute bare minimum at your job just to get through the week, do the bare minimum. You do not have to give 100% of yourself to 100% of the things in your life 100% of the time. Sometimes giving 40% is a victory. I know it is terrifying to drop those sandbags. You are afraid that if you stop pushing yourself to the brink, everything you have built will collapse. You are afraid that the people around you will finally see you as a failure. But the people who truly love you do not want the version of you that is run ragged and hollowed out. They want you. And the work you are so desperate to accomplish will actually be there when you get back. It might even be better because it will be done by someone whose eyes are clear and whose hands are steady. Recovery from this kind of exhaustion does not happen in a weekend. You cannot undo a year of chronic stress with one bubble bath or a single good night of sleep. It is going to require a fundamental shift in how you talk to yourself. When that cruel voice in your head pipes up and calls you lazy, I want you to step in and defend yourself the way I would defend you. I want you to say, no, I am healing. I am recovering. I am gathering my strength. You have worked so hard to get to where you are. You have overcome obstacles that would have broken a lesser person. You have proven your resilience time and time again. You do not have anything left to prove to anyone. Not to me, not to the world, and especially not to yourself. I want you to give yourself permission to just be for a little while. Put down the heavy backpack. Step away from the desk. Close the review books for the night. The world will keep spinning if you close your eyes and let yourself be cared for. I am so incredibly proud of the heart you have and the effort you put into this world. But your greatest masterpiece is not your career or your test scores or your projects. It is your life. And you need to be awake and healthy enough to actually enjoy it. Take a deep breath. Let it out. You are safe, you are enough, and you are allowed to rest. I'll see you in the next letter. Love, Dad.